Okay, so I'm making this just to kind of show what I built yesterday. I used to kind of maintain everything for my Destiny in this Google document here, and this is just my weekly manager. I still use this, but what I did yesterday is I get super sick of actually managing my gear in a spreadsheet. So this is how it used to look. I used to have kind of my ideal helmet for PvE and helmet for PvP and raid and trials and whatnot, just throughout the thing. And it's kind of awful because if I wanted to use a shotgun in PvE, then I wouldn't know what my ideal loadout would be according to the perks on my full gear set. And you can see a mismatch here. This is kind of what started it. I got a new chest piece, and it had shotgun, but my PvE gauntlets were labeled as sniper, so it was a bit of a mess. So I needed a way to kind of manage that a little bit better. Same thing on my hunter, same thing on my titan. And so what I wound up doing was I have a local install of SQL Server 2016, and so I wound up just doing a mass insert of all of my gear. And so you see here, like I put on some attributes like if it was a chest piece, then there's obviously a subclass associated with that. So I identified that in the subclass column. I have this helmet type identifying more or less what the best game type that helmet was suited for. That's based on certain perks. Like Inverse Shadow is the perk that gives you extra super energy when you kill PvE enemies. So obviously that's not really a great helmet to have in Crucible, but it's really decent to have in PvE or even in a raid. Shine On is the equivalent raid perk or raid helmet perk, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think so. And then on my regular Crucible helmet, I like Ashes to Assets because that gives me, I believe, extra super energy on grenade kills. But I don't necessarily need that in Trials because in Trials I like to run Angel of Mercy, which gives me extra super energy from revives. I might kind of reconsider that based on just how I wind up doing in Trials in the future. I feel like my teammates should be running Angel of Mercy because I'm the one who was always dead. But regardless, like those are the type of stats that I had in consideration for helmets. And then obviously on gauntlets and chest pieces, it has sniper reload or special reload or extra special ammo based on a specific weapon. And on boots, you get that exact same perk on heavy. Some people, I know one of the people I play with quite often they double up on the ammo type and special and on their boots. I don't do that. I might in the future, but I don't right now. And then if I had exotics, I really wouldn't qualify it with a specific helmet type or special or heavy type because honestly, I only really care if it's an exotic and I needed a way to identify that. And you can re-roll that, so whatever. So I created this table and put all my records inside of it and kind of started building stored procedures from there. First one was obviously just selecting all of that where with an input of just a character, and it would give me all of my Titan gear. So that's pretty straightforward. And came over to Visual Studio and started building a template for a report, which I wanted to select my character, subclass, the type of game that I'd be playing, the type of special weapon I'd be using, and the type of heavy weapon that I'd be using. And I wanted to effectively view the report, and for that to give me my entire loadout of gear that I should be wearing. So here's kind of how this looks. I go into my loadout generator. I have some default parameters on here, but when it loads up, it'll basically go into that table, sort out everything that I have, and it will tell me exactly the 4 pieces of gear that I should wear, and then it'll give me alternatives and exotics. This is really interesting that that's taken so long, but I'm not too worried about it. So my default parameters here are a Solar Titan running PvE with a sniper and a machine gun. Title here, nice and neat. And so here's the 4 pieces of gear that I have that correspond to that specific loadout. Again, my PvE helmet, my sniper gauntlets, my sniper chest piece, and my machine gun boots. So let's just run a different one for Let's do Warlock with Arc Trials. I'll run a shotgun and a rocket launcher. So there we go. So here I have 2 chess pieces that actually suit the need of this. It's interesting. I should probably get rid of one of them, but I don't. One's intellect discipline, one's discipline strength. But anyway, so pretty cool little thing. I've also it's been pretty helpful over the last couple of days, to be totally honest. If I run a Void Hunter for Crucible, and we'll run a sniper with machine gun this time. There we go. And I did also add the exotic perk there. You can see here that I don't have a chess piece, so it doesn't populate that if I don't have anything that's suitable, but that's fine. That's all just a matter of acquiring the gear that I need. The other thing that I did add was the ability to add and delete items was kind of a necessity after completely removing gear tracking in the spreadsheet itself. So this report, it has kind of a top table that is based off of these parameters. And the bottom table just gives me an overview of all of the items that I have for a specific character. So if I were to run this originally for my Titan, do the report, and it gives me my Titan results. If I want to add an item, so let's go ahead and add one for, oh shoot, I didn't need to do that. Let's add one for my Hunter. It's going to be a helmet, why not? We'll call it, these are ones that I added yesterday, so I added all my gear, so this is just historical information. Where's the Spectar mask? So we'll add a new Spectar mask. It is a helmet. The helmet type, let's call it a new Crucible helmet. I don't fill in special or heavy types for helmets. Stat 1, we'll call it Discipline with Strength. Perk 1A is Ashes to Assets. B is, we'll call it that. We'll call it that, and we'll leave the other 2 blank. First, I view the report to verify. I just want to make sure that everything's correct here. And if I just go ahead and add the item, I do have to remember what I just added. So then all of a sudden we'll see in here that I just added, where'd you go? Helmet type. This guy here. So that's the new record that I've just added to my table. If I actually query my table itself, here's the before I ran the report, 64. And if I run this again, I'll have 65. So my helmet has effectively been added to the table. Now, obviously, the other side of that is I need to delete it if I need to delete it. So I kind of created another report, called it Destiny Delete Item. Hunter helmet, my game type was Crucible. My subclass was null on that. My special type was null. Heavy type was null. And this will, once I fill in the top 6 parameters, it'll give me a drop down to give me the exact pieces of item or pieces of equipment that suit those attributes. So I know it's the Spectar mask that I'm looking for. I'm just going to view my report. Sure enough, that's the one that I added. I can click delete item. It's been deleted, and I can go back to my items list. I've never clicked this button before. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, okay, good. And if we look in here, I'm looking for Crucible helmet type. It's not here. Obviously, I do have one that's Crucible, but that's my Warden's sight, not my Spectar mask. And if I go back into my table here, I have 65, and if I execute this query, I'll have 64. So, yeah, overall, it was a pretty cool little project yesterday. It took me about 3 hours. Yeah, it seems to, I think it's going to be helpful in the future, especially with Rise of Iron coming up. I'll be juggling a lot of gear around, so hopefully it'll go well. I'm just going to run this one more time to see, show different variations and whatnot. Yeah, so it's working well. I'm pleased with it. I don't know where I'm going to post this, but I bet you only old guard guys are going to be looking for it, so if you have any questions about it, feel free to just message me on Slack. Okay, thanks.